All right, if you've ever worked on a software team, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That feeling, that nagging sense that your code base, the one that used to be so clean and new, is kind of turning into a tangled mess of old decisions. It is a constant uphill battle. And today, we're going to talk about a brand new AI-powered weapon in that fight.
Just think about it for a second. What's that one invisible thing that makes every new feature take longer, turns simple bug fixes into a week-long ordeal, and just silently eats up your team's time and budget? Well, for a whole lot of us, that invisible problem has a very real name.
And there it is, technical debt. Yep, it's like the ghost in the machine, right? It's the sum total of every single, we'll fix it later decision. And it is a very, very expensive problem to have. So what if you could just automate your way out of it?
So how are companies trying to tackle this? Well, Amazon Web Services just threw a massive new contender into the ring. It's called AWS Transform Custom, and it is aimed squarely at this exact problem, modernizing and refactoring code, but at a huge scale.
So what is this thing, really? At its heart, it's an AI agent. But we're not talking about a simple little autocomplete tool. No! This thing is built from the ground up to dive deep into existing, messy applications and help you untangle all of that technical debt.
Now, AWS is making let's call it a very bold claim about what this tool can do. They've actually put a number on it, and it's a big one. So what's up with this 5x?
Yep, you heard that right. They are claiming a 5-fold speed increase over doing this kind of work by hand. And we're not talking about one little project here. We're talking about trying to scale this across an entire company, with maybe hundreds or even thousands of different applications. It's a seriously audacious claim.
Okay, so how does it actually pull this off? I mean, a 5x increase is a massive promise, so let's pop the hood and see what the nuts and bolts of this thing are really all about.
So the service can handle a whole range of stuff. You've got your more straightforward tasks, like upgrading your Java version or moving from an old version of Node.js or Python to a new one. But then it gets into the really heavy lifting, like migrating entire runtimes, translating code from one language to another, and even making big architectural changes that are specific to your company's way of doing things.
But here's where it gets really, really interesting. This isn't just some static one-and-done tool. AWS says the agent is built to learn. It chews through your code, it reads your internal documentation, your wikis, your design docs, and it even takes direct feedback from your developers. The whole idea is that the more you use it, the smarter it gets about your specific code and your specific problems.
And you can use it in two main ways. For individual developers just hacking away on their own machine, there's a command line tool. You can just use plain English prompts to get it to refactor stuff. But for the big, company-wide initiatives, there's a web interface. It's designed to manage what they call campaigns, which is just a way of coordinating these transformations across tons of different teams and code bases all at once.
So, as you can probably imagine, the minute this was announced, the developer community just exploded. The big question became, is this the magic bullet we've all been hoping for? Or is it just more hype? Or even worse, could it actually be more of a hassle?
And really, it all boils down to this one fundamental question, the one that every single senior engineer immediately started asking. Can an algorithm, no matter how smart, truly understand the decades of weird patches, undocumented features, and quirky business logic that's baked into a critical old-school application?
On one side of this debate, you have the optimists, the true believers, and this comment from a developer discussion just sums up their whole argument perfectly. The dream here, the holy grail, is to make the cost of refactoring so ridiculously low that it's just not a barrier anymore. You just do it. It completely changes the game.
But then, of course, you have the skeptics. And this counterpoint gets right to the heart of their biggest fear. It's all about that hidden business logic. The stuff that only Janet in accounting remembers because she was there in '98 when they built it. That's the stuff that was never written down. They're arguing an AI will just totally miss that crucial context and leave an even bigger mess for a human to clean up later. And this right here, this is the whole shebang. It's the core conflict of this entire conversation. You've got the incredible, powerful dream of technology making a hard problem basically free, slamming up against the messy, human reality of how software actually gets built and maintained over decades. It's a classic clash.
So with all this back and forth, what did AWS have to say? Well, Josh Chhabra from AWS jumped into the conversation to clarify how they see this tool, and he really stressed that this isn't just another little coding assistant for one developer. He said, look, this is an enterprise tool.
It's designed for a central team to bake in all that specific company knowledge and then run these modernizations over and over again. Okay, so after looking at the technology and diving into the big debate, where does that leave us? Let's try to zoom out and figure out what the real takeaway is here. All right, so let's just boil this all down. First, it's going after a huge, really expensive problem that almost every company has. Second, it comes with that wild 5x speed increase claim. Third, its secret sauce is supposed to be that it learns from your code and your internal rules. And finally, and this is a big one, its actual real-world usefulness is still a massive question mark for the very people who would be using it.
So maybe the most important thing to remember is this. It seems like this is all about augmenting humans, not replacing them. The goal isn't to fire all your senior developers. The goal is to give them a superpowered tool that can handle all the boring, repetitive parts of modernization so they can focus their brain power on that tricky, hidden business logic that only they really understand. And all of this leaves us with one final multi-billion-dollar question to chew on. Are tools like this the dawn of a new age where we can actually defeat technical debt for good? Or are they just the next cool weapon in a fight that's going to keep going as long as we're all still writing code? I guess only time will tell.